When you think world's biggest spider, there's really only one name that comes to mind, right? Today, we're taking a deep dive into the Goliath Birdeater, an absolute giant of the arachnid world.
Okay, let's just jump right into the stat that blows everyone's mind. The Goliath's leg span can get up to nearly a foot across. That is the size of a dinner plate. Just take a second to picture that crawling across your kitchen table.
I mean, there's no other word for it, is there? That is just monster-sized. We are talking about the largest spider on the entire planet by sheer mass. So how on earth does a creature this huge survive and thrive? Well, let's find out. All right, first things first, let's officially meet the Goliath, the world's largest arachnid.
So where does this absolute giant live? You'll find it deep in the lush rainforests of northern South America. But here's the thing, you're not going to find it spinning some giant web up in the trees. Nope. This behemoth lives right on the forest floor, hiding out in the leaf litter.
But that name, right? The Goliath Birdeater, it just paints this incredibly dramatic picture. But how accurate is it really? It's time to investigate this misunderstood hunter. So, the big question on everyone's mind, does it really eat birds? Okay, so here's where we separate the myth from the reality. Despite that very dramatic name, the truth is the Goliath almost never eats birds. What it's actually eating is whatever it can get its fangs on down on the forest floor. Things like frogs, big insects, and maybe even a small rodent if it gets lucky. And that's because its whole hunting style is completely different from what you might picture. Yeah, forget everything you think you know about spiders and webs. This is a stealth hunter, an ambush predator that just lies in wait for some unsuspecting victim to wander by. So, if it doesn't use a web, how does it hunt? Well, it all comes down to the incredible anatomy of this predator, the specialized tools of a giant hunter. First off, it's all about its senses. The Goliath's legs are covered in these super sensitive hairs. It's basically a built-in motion detection system. They can pick up the tiniest vibrations from any movement nearby, which tells the spider, hey, dinner might be close. And once it's locked on a target, it attacks with fangs that are almost an inch long. An inch! That's more than long enough to do some serious damage. And believe me, those fangs are not just for show. They inject a powerful neurotoxic venom. For the little critters it hunts, like frogs or insects, that bite is an absolute death sentence. It paralyzes them almost instantly. Okay, this next part is, well, it's both fascinating and kind of gruesome, so buckle up. First, the venomous bite kills the prey. Then, because spiders can't chew their food, it basically spits up digestive juices all over its meal. Those juices break down all the soft tissue, turning the insides into a liquid slurry. Then, the spider just sucks it all up, leaving behind an empty husk. Wild, right? All right, I know what you're thinking. Inch-long fangs, neurotoxins, liquefying your insides. This sounds like something out of a horror movie. So the natural question is, what's the real threat to a human? Well, here's the good news. While that venom is absolutely devastating for its prey, for us humans, it's a totally different story. A bite would definitely hurt. Think of it like a nasty wasp sting, with some swelling and discomfort for a few hours, but it's not considered medically dangerous. And on top of that, this spider is not looking for a fight with something our size. It gives you plenty of warning. If it feels threatened, it'll rear up on its back legs to look as big as possible, and then it rubs its leg hairs together to make a hissing sound. And get this. That hiss can be heard up to 15 feet away. I mean, that's a pretty clear, hey, back off sign if you ask me. So, let's bring it all together and put this giant spider into perspective. It really boils down to this, and I think this quote says it perfectly. The Goliath Birdeater is massive, no doubt about it. It looks incredibly intimidating. But its reputation is so much bigger than the actual danger it poses. The real spectacle here is its size, not its bite. The Goliath is just an amazing reminder that in the natural world, the biggest, scariest looking thing isn't always the most dangerous. Which kind of leaves you wondering, right? If the world's largest spider isn't really our biggest problem, then what creatures out there should we be watching out for?